Welcome to another episode of Heat Check. We have a great episode coming your way. We will be talking about movies that are highly anticipated by us in 2019 and beyond, as well as a little bit of soccer talk, talking about the Champions League and the Premier League. I'm joined by
Bohley,
Will Whitehurst,
Bryce Whitney,
Logan Rakes,
Brandon LaRocco,
Aron Jaffe.
and I'm Abhishek Goel. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. All right, so 2019 should be a great year for movies. There are a lot of things that I'm looking forward to, a lot of projects that are coming out. What are some of the ones that are coming up in the next couple of weeks and months?
So, you can't talk about 2019 movies without talking about Avengers Endgame. That's just like the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
If you don't talk about that, then you're kidding yourself. It's gonna make $3 billion. There's no doubt. You got an ensemble cast. It's got like a 3-hour run limit? It's
like 3 hours, 2 minutes was what Marvel was saying for total runtime.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm willing to sit in the theater for like 12 hours. I'll just sit in there forever. Just like
I found 181 minutes. That'd be 3 hours and 1 minute.
God.
So
So you were wrong.
I might need some.
I apologize.
might need to not get a drink on that one and just sitting there.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any leaving your seat.
If you need to pee during Endgame, like, you just have to hold it. Or you pee on the floor or something. You're not leaving.
I'm assuming that people listening here have watched Infinity War. Now,
Dog,
I'm gonna take
at the very least.
I'm gonna take at least 5 seconds if you want to like speed forward to like after we talk about Avengers. But yes, Infinity War.
Everyone's dead? No. Half of everyone's dead. That's the gist of it. So
Thanos, of course, snapped.
Yeah.
we all want to know what's happened right after because it leaves on almost a cliffhanger.
I mean,
Thanos is sitting there. He's like, "Yeah, I did it. I beat the Avengers." And then the Avengers are sitting there like, "Wow, we really just got clapped."
Yeah.
Like,
they got snapped.
they're all jokey. That's a great point to make in this. I want to know the tone of this movie.
Yeah.
Like Avengers Infinity
I feel
War.
like if you're at 3 hours, you can have many different tones.
Exactly. And then, will that create tonal whiplash? Will that make people, like, not like it at all? I don't know. Like, Avengers Infinity War was very breezy until, like, the last 15 minutes. And
Bro,
it just,
got
like,
serious and they like started
Yeah.
killing dudes. Dudes started dissolving. I was like, whoa,
I
whoa,
want
whoa.
this movie to feel dire and depressing.
Wow.
Nice.
I don't know if that's a hot take, because it's a Marvel
I mean,
movie and it's
why
supposed to be
would you
jokey
want-
jokes, but,
Yeah.
like,
like a cold take, technically, like depression.
yeah, cold and depressive.
Oh my
depressive.
God.
That's what I want.
I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, we can all hope for that, but I don't think that's just gonna happen because it's Marvel. It's this huge IP that they're not just gonna let go like that. And people that have read the comic books already know how it's gonna end. I don't, but like I've had things almost spoiled for me.
Hey, whoa.
But I'm not gonna go into that. Yeah, like I mean, you just know it's a superhero movie. Like they gotta come back, and even in like the trailers that they've shown, you have Iron Man, who's like lost all hope, isolated on this spaceship, running out of food, running out of oxygen. But then they come out with another trailer like a month later, and they show him joining the battle. so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's fine. I don't have to worry. But so yeah, I don't think they're just gonna.
The Russos, the director of these films, have come out and said that like all footage of these trailers is doctored. There's some of it is real and some of it's not. So if you go back and look at the Infinity War trailer, there's that big scene in Wakanda where they're all walking, like running towards the camera. Hulk is there. That's not in the movie. It's the same scene, but Hulk's not in that scene. Hulk is being a little wuss and doesn't want to come out after he got his butt clapped by Thanos or whatever he's doing. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. They did show Tony with the rest of the Avengers in his quantum white suit or whatever.
Yeah.
So who really knows what's real and what's not? I kind of like that aspect of it. You can theory craft and you can say, oh, they're going to go back in time and they're going to go steal this and steal that, but you don't really know until you see the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of like the end of like this segment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They spent like almost 20 years building up this portion of it, and it's kind of like finalizing with this movie, and it kind of leads like I know Marvel said like they want to start working on different projects, kind of bringing out maybe different superheroes that aren't as well known, kind of start over if you would. So I'm kind of interested to see where I'm very interested for the movie, but I'm almost more interested for after the movie, like what they're gonna do afterwards.
And that's where they started too. Like, who knew about Captain America?
Yeah, exactly.
I sure didn't. All they had was the X-Men, maybe the Hulk. No one knew who the heck Iron Man was. Iron Man 1 came out the same year as The Dark Knight. That is a big. They came out 6 months away from each other, so like that's a huge deal, you know. They started, DC and Marvel started at the same point with 2 great movies, and you can kind of see as that went, one goes one way and one kind of goes the other. So
yeah, I am kind of glad to see this whole universe sort of not necessarily come to an end, but you know, maybe like take a step back, because you know, pretty much with all of the past Marvel movies, especially in the past maybe like 3 years, there's always been some sort of crossover. Spider-Man and Iron Man, the new Spider-Man coming out, you have Mysterio coming in,
Thor and Doctor Strange and Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover, and it's, you know, while, you know, any Marvel fan can appreciate that, it's sort of getting old in a way, and I would like some of these superhero movies to sort of go back to their roots and have some origin stories and more into some of the villains that like they see in their actual comic books, like Spider-Man versus Venom. I would love to see that. Even, I mean, you know, the Venom movie did just come out, so that's sort of debatable. But, you know, it's stuff like that I sort of want to see. I want to see it go back to how we first started. So,
Speaking of origin stories and villains, Joker, that's going to come out.
Joker's coming
Villain
out.
origin story.
Bro, I think a Loki origin story would be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I
gonna
mean,
be a
we
Netflix
just see
series.
like this.
Is
Oh, is
it?
it really?
They're going to make a
No
Loki
way.
Netflix series. That's exactly
Because
what's
like we
happening.
just see this, you know, super evil dude, and it's like, yo, like where did he come from?
He's
Like, how'd
basically
this
just a
happen?
good guy by the end, though.
That's
Yeah.
true. He is.
So he's
sort
definitely
of a
had
martyr type.
almost
type
the
beat.
biggest character arc of any of the characters. In the
Yeah,
movie.
we hated him in the beginning of
Yeah,
the
he's
series.
tearing the dude's eye out in the Avengers. He
Bro, I was-
literally
I was-
puts him on a table.
I was kind of super sad when he, you know,
When Thanos killed him.
yeah. It
I
was
love
sad.
that. It was like, this is
It
going to be a
was
different type of movie.
I was
It was
like,
a
yo,
statement.
they're not messing around.
I didn't realize he was dead at first.
I know. I was like,
until,
bro, he's about to hop
Yeah.
right back up.
no,
No
because he
resurrections
always
this
did.
time.
He always did.
You'd be like, oh, yo, they killed him, and then he'd be like, nah, I'm
Yeah.
back, hoes, but like, not this time.
Yeah, we'll see. I do like Marvel shows. I was really into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, that was great. So I hope the same team works on that Loki show. But yeah, so back onto the topic of like 2019 movies. Big one I'm excited for, Star Wars.
Star Wars. So coming out right at the end of the year. Is it a Christmas Day release? Is
Yep.
that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah.
Christmas Day.
Oh my goodness. So
I mean,
this
I know
is
I'm doing the day after Christmas.
so this is episode 9 in the new. It's the last one in the new trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
New characters, of course. Some people like them. Some people don't. I personally do. I know I'm not. I'm not like part of the majority. Maybe
I mean, I'd say
It's very
like-
split.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say
It's very
split.
split.
Yeah.
split.
I'm definitely part of the circle jerk that just hates this whole new trilogy. That being said, I enjoy them sort of reviving the series, and you know, it's arguable that like if like Disney hadn't bought the IP and restarted this trilogy, that some other stuff wouldn't have come out, like the new Clone Wars animated series, which is I'm very excited for that. I don't think that would have happened
Oh
if
my God.
this hadn't. So like I appreciate it on that sense, but I'm not looking forward to the story.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to
An end.
sort of yeah, exactly. I'm
It's
looking
an
forward
end to all.
to-
the,
yeah.
all
But
of
there
this.
was an
Yeah.
end. That's the thing. They had an end. Because
But
Return of
that
the
just
Jedi
kinda,
was
like,
the
went,
end.
Yeah.
like 40
And then they're
years
like,
into the
yeah.
future or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened between 6 and 7. They still haven't really
They
gone over
haven't.
that at
because
all.
they went between Return of the Jedi, or no, between Return of the Jedi, between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. They kind of
Yeah.
filled in that gap with Rogue
Yeah.
One.
Mhm.
I'm expecting the same sort of thing with between.
I'm sure they
Return
will.
Of the Jedi
I mean, they've
and
made a
The
lot
Force
of these
Awakens.
spin-off movies.
Yeah, and so after this, it's rumored that like they're taking a long break.
Yeah, I heard
after
that.
this trilogy. But you know, then there's other studios like
Right.
the studio that created Rogue One that might come in and fill that gap. But you know, I'm glad to see them
Okay.
take a break because I think they're sort of
Yeah.
pushing the limits
They've
of Star
done
Wars.
too much in
They
the
have.
Galactic Civil War time area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
After after 3, before 4. So like Rogue One, they're making this new Mandalorian series. All the games take place in that.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. Like, go flesh out these characters that half the people at least like Rey, Poe, and Finn. I don't know what they're doing. If you don't read the comic books, then there's basically no other media that has them in it. So they need to flesh that out instead of just piling on more stuff in the original trilogy just for nostalgia's sake.
Well, yeah, so what happened with, like, Star Wars, right, is Lucasfilm sold the rights to Disney. And then Disney decided that all of the extended universe stuff was just no longer canon.
It's not canon.
Yeah, so everything
it's
that
legends.
was canon.
So part of it is and part of it isn't, so they can cherry pick what they want.
Right, exactly. They can cherry pick what they want. And J.J. Abrams kind of destroyed the first movie because the plot wasn't even that bad, but J.J. Abrams directing and like his lens flares and stuff like that is just so annoying. It looked like a Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, sorry, I was trying to say something real quick. Like, I think the film, like, I like the films for like what they are. Like, they're beautiful films. Like, the imagery is amazing. There's no knocking that at all.
Agreed.
But like, I'm not a big fan of the plot. Like, I thought The Force Awakens, like, it was pretty good, but, like, I thought it was just so, like, just randomly everything's going, like, haywire. Like, I don't, like, it's just, like, I can't, it's hard for me to follow these movies because, like, obviously, I don't have any emotional attachment to these characters yet. And I don't think they've done, like, an incredible job of fleshing out the characters, really, like Will said. I still don't feel any emotional attachment to any of them.
Agreed.
I really feel like
Kylo, that's the only one.
Yeah,
I like Kylo
and
more
he's
than
just a
like,
whiny little.
and he's like a weird, he's like a weird
Almost
looking
said something
dude.
there. He's just a whiny little jerk in the newest one. We're gonna reset the Force. We're gonna make balance. Nope. At the very end, he's still a bad guy, and she's still the good guy. So
I mean,
nothing really changed.
I really feel like
girl. Excuse me.
I feel like if Rey or Poe or Finn died, I'd just be like, damn, that's wild.
I wanted Finn to die when he was about to do.
I'm so hip. That would have been
Yeah.
an epic finale.
It's like he's come full circle. His character's super selfish in
Yep.
episode 7. He's only working after himself, and his character arc is I'm going to go fight for something bigger than myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he basically just rose,
Yeah.
kind of threw that to
God,
the wind. We're not.
I hate
That's a
Rose
whole
so
other
much.
can of
Yeah,
worms.
yeah.
And then he somehow survives. Like
A lot of it, yeah.
how did
You could have killed him.
I mean,
and
everything's
accomplished
too
nothing.
perfect. Yeah, and like a big complaint with like episode 7, Rey was like a Mary Sue character. She knew exactly what to do, when to do it, especially with like the Millennium Falcon, like one of the most complex like ships in the galaxy. She just knew how to override the hyperdrive and all that shit. Like no.
She beats Kylo in a one-on-one
Exactly.
lightsaber duel,
Yeah.
and she's never held a lightsaber. I get it. She's got a staff.
Okay,
if
so-
a staff is different from a sword, and the idea that she could beat Kylo, who's trained his entire life to be a space wizard. Like, that's what Jedi are. They're space wizards.
Yeah.
She beats him on the first try. If Luke had beaten Vader in episode 4,
It's like, oh.
we'd be in the same situation. There's no sort of character progression. She has no bad guy to beat.
Yeah, she really has like nothing to overcome. She's like, oh, I already beat him.
Yeah.
And then like in episode 8, like there's this weird like telepathic bonding thing
I actually
that
thought that was
Snoke.
interesting.
Okay,
It
it
was
was
something
cool.
new.
It was
Something
cool,
new.
but it was weird.
It was
and
very
then
weird.
they just dropped this Snoke dude in out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
then
who the hell is this guy? Like, I don't know who is this, and why is he facilitating this sort of connection?
So let's bring this back to episode 9, since we're talking
Yeah,
about new movies.
just hopefully we'll get
So,
some answers in episode
Everything
9.
about episode 9 is a course correction from episode 8.
Yeah.
They got rid of Snoke, so like, shit, what do we do? We're going to bring back Sidious. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring back Emperor Palpatine.
Hey,
That's what they do at the end of the trailer. That's the big reveal. Nothing really else happens in the trailer, but the name, the return of Skywalker.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
So-
yeah.
I think that's going to be like the title for the new Jedi, like the Skywalkers. It's not going to be like a last name. It's not a surname. It's like she's a Skywalker. It's
Yeah,
like
that's what a lot of
Force-sensitive
people
person.
are saying.
Yeah,
But
or she's just going to be Anakin's.
Yeah, so this
granddaughter
is
or
the
something
thing.
stupid.
I think one of the
Force
reasons
baby.
why we don't have this emotional like connection to these new characters is that we don't know a lot of their stories, who they are. I mean, we almost definitely have to get some kind of answer about Rey in this movie.
The answer was there was no answer.
Okay, but I don't trust that answer.
You see, I'm very skeptical as well.
After
I-
the director change, yeah.
yeah.
Well, and like, not only that, but like, you know, going back on my episode 8 tangent, like, why would Kylo Ren tell her the truth? What interest, like, what does he gain from telling her the truth there? Like, he has everything to gain from making her think that she's nothing
If
in
he
that
tells
situation.
her that she's the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Which
she'd
I
be
think
like-
she is. I think
she'd
she's
be
related
like,
to Obi-Wan
who
Kenobi.
the hell is that? Why does it matter?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's actually more interesting that she's just her own thing, but they don't exactly explore that in any sort of way that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's very possible for something crazy with her origin story to be revealed.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll see what happens.
But then again, it's like, do
not
I
fulfilling.
care? Yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we could argue about that for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. There was that one little kid on
Yeah.
that gambling island or
Yeah.
whatever who looked up and he had like the rebel thing.
Yeah.
Take on this
I
too.
like. Is he coming back? I'd like to see him. Is he
What
a
if he's a
Skywalker?
Skywalker?
He's the
Yeah.
Skywalker.
So I think that's just a wink and nod to the idea that everybody's special, everybody's foreign.
Like we have a lot of
You know,
rebels in the
It's more of a
galaxy or whatever.
symbolic
Subtle nod.
scene, not a literal interpretation. This kid's the next main character. Maybe that's a little bit too literal. I don't know.
But I wouldn't be
10.
surprised if it was.
Honestly, at this point, he could be Obi-Wan. I don't know.
Yeah. So, other
Anyways,
movies.
sorry.
Yeah.
Detective
so,
Pikachu. I'm
Yeah.
super excited about Detective
Oh, yeah.
Pikachu.
Yeah, definitely looks
I love that they look gross.
Interesting.
And
Yeah,
they do
sounds
look
They
gross.
look
Yeah.
gross, and I
I'm
love it. They're
Yeah.
monsters. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be monsters,
Yeah.
and they look all round and cute in the newest stuff. So,
So this is the thing. I have very fond memories from the video games, the TV series, and all that. Movies of them looking like so playful and awesome. And I don't know how I feel about this yet. About this monsters take that people are talking about. They just look ugly to me.
I mean, did you see Pikachu? He looks
adorable.
I mean, so
the
Pikachu
ugly
looked
ones look
adorable.
ugly. I'll definitely give you that.
There are
But the
definitely a
cute
lot
ones
of
look
ones
cute.
that look ugly.
Bro,
They look the way they're
Jigglypuff
supposed to. I
looks
think.
so tough.
Yeah, but you got to get over the hump of
Jigglypuff
Yo,
looks like
Jigglypuff
a
is
drunk at a
fuzzy.
bar. Like,
Yeah,
it's like-
yeah. If you look at Jigglypuff in the game, you're like, is he fuzzy?
No.
Like, what is
Yeah.
he?
Yeah,
He's
that
just
was
a
that
little
was
pink
my
ball.
thing. I didn't know if he like when I saw he was when I saw it was fuzzy, I was like, whoa, like I just imagined it was like Kirby. It was just like a
Yeah.
little
Yeah, he's
ball,
just
like,
there.
His
blob.
in-game sprite has the swirly on his head, so
Yeah.
it's hair.
Yeah.
So
Yes, yeah.
in an anime aesthetic, it's not going to look like hair, but in a
Yeah.
realistic aesthetic, it's going to look like hair.
Yeah, I mean, something that they're doing is they're taking these characters, which like we've associated sort of our own, like, or like what we think their personalities are like, what we think, like, what
Yeah,
we
we
think how
of
they
course
act.
have
but-
nostalgia for how we thought
Right.
they were.
yeah, exactly, and they're sort of taking that to not necessarily a higher level, just a different level, and it's just not what we expect, I guess.
I know for me, like, this movie isn't going to hurt any, preconceived notions I have about how I feel about Pokemon. Like,
Exactly.
It's not.
Like-
it can only like help that notion, because I played the games, watched the movies, watched the show. Like, I already have my perceptions about these characters, and I'm excited just to see how they're going to translate that into the real world.
Into the screen, yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Excited for
into
Ryan
like a real
Reynolds,
world
too.
setting.
He should
Dude,
get-
Ryan Reynolds in a
he's
Pokemon
making me
movie.
laugh
Let's
in the
go.
trailer.
Yeah.
He's saying, he's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, he's a detective. Like,
Yeah.
that comes out of Pikachu's mouth, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, definitely should be good. One thing I think is like pretty interesting about this upcoming year in movies is just like the amount of sort of like remakes.
Well, live
That's
action.
what we've come
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
That's what we've come to.
Dumbo, Aladdin, Toy Story 4, and like there's a couple
Toy Story
like
4 is not
things.
good, like a remake.
No, it's
or
not.
live
I mean,
action.
sorry, yeah, just a
We'll
continuation.
talk about Toy Story 4 later.
Yeah. So like one interesting thing that I think I saw it on Twitter. The reason why like you see all these remakes now is one, to keep the IP valid, so
Yeah.
it doesn't go out of copyright, but also they want to keep these characters alive for each generation.
Yeah, I
So-
saw that too. I saw Disney wanted to Walt
Yeah.
Disney obviously wanted to he said when he made these movies he wanted to make sure each generation got to experience it again. So I feel that's a fair reason. I don't know which do we want to talk about Lion King first?
I would love
We can
to
talk about I'll talk about Aladdin first just because it was the one that was
Yeah,
introduced.
it's coming. It's the first one. That's coming
So I never watched the original Aladdin. I probably watched
It was a great movie.
out. It was.
Yeah,
It
I
was
feel
That's my
it's-
favorite Disney movie.
I feel like it's a great movie. I thought everything looked fine except there's two things. One,
Hard.
obvious. I'll get to that. So, obviously. So here's the thing. When I first saw Will Smith as the genie, I was pretty horrified. I'm not gonna lie. He looked pretty
Oh, that's
gross. I didn't like how they went with they really could have just had his voice instead of him as a big Smurf. Then I saw the second trailer and I was like, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought. It could be a lot worse. Then obviously too, Jafar's voice is
He's unthreatening.
he's so soft. I mean,
He looks like.
I put him in my I mean, it's. I don't feel there's no intimidation there. The original Jafar, he had that deep voice. I mean, he looked hideous.
Looks like a snake.
Looked like a snake. I mean, now with this villain, I can't take him serious. And I'll get to it later. It's kind of the same thing with the Lion King trailer with Scar, but I'll get to that later.
I want to know before this movie like came out, if you ask a kid on the street, like, do you know who Aladdin is? And if he says yes, this movie doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the original is
a
perfect movie.
I would disagree. Well, like, yeah, it's a perfect movie. I would disagree about the thing. If they know who Aladdin is, I'm sure they do, but I don't think all of them have always seen the movie. And it always like it just introduces like the characters into a new generation in a different way.
I feel like if I show a kid the original Aladdin, it's gonna have like the same effect, if not better.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
it's unnecessary. In
my
eyes.
biggest thing with the new Aladdin movie is something that's out of the control of everybody that's making Aladdin. Is that I can't see Will Smith as the genie because I can't stop thinking about Robin Williams as the genie.
For sure.
So
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, someone's got to step into
prayers
that
up,
role.
prayers up to the man,
Yeah.
Robin Williams, gone too soon.
Which is weird because he didn't want to just be known as the genie.
Right.
I think they. I can't even say. I something about it. Some story about Robin Williams. I don't know if like. I don't know. Never mind.
I mean, I can go on a quick Robin Williams tangent. Like, if we got time for this.
They let him just riff in the booth, and then the animators were told to animate from what he said. Their hands probably broke. Like
Robin Williams is one of my favorite voice actors ever. Like, he's the genie, not voice acting, but he's also, Teddy Roosevelt in Night at the Museum.
sure.
He's Mrs. Doubtfire. Dude,
yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire is an iconic
movie.
movie. So it's not
Dead
even...
Poet Society. And
Dead Poet Society. That was the one I was
Good
thinking.
Morning
of.
Vietnam.
Yeah, for sure.
And that one, too. Yeah, but so, like, it's not that I think of the genie... Or it's not that I think of Robin Williams as the genie. It's that I think of the genie as Robin Williams. And I just, I don't know how I'm going to feel about, chunky little Will Smith being replacing Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's true. Back to what like Will was saying about kids on the street, like knowing what Aladdin is. I think something that's important to realize is that like the old Aladdin movies will always exist. Like they don't necessarily need to make a new one just to like refresh the icon of Aladdin, but it's sort of like we have this new, like not necessarily new, but like we have this complex live action technology, and it's almost maybe like a showcase. Like this is where we were in technology back when the cartoon Aladdin came
I hope
out.
it doesn't look dated in 10 years, though.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly, and then in another 10 years we'll see another Aladdin maybe. So yeah, I mean it's like watching something evolve over time. But again, that raises the question: is it necessary, and is it worth the time, effort, and money? But I mean, I guess we'll see how it does in box office.
So if we go to The Lion King, I have an even bigger issue with that one because every scene that I've seen in the trailer is just shot for shot. You can pair it up with the original. Like it looks like you said like a tech expo. Like look what we can do in this higher resolution.
I don't think that the goal with these movies is to create a new storyline or like really very much, if at all, from the original movies, but rather to, I guess, present it in this new medium, 3 like in like the as opposed to being like 2D animated and all that, in the live action. But I don't know, like, was anyone asking for this?
Yeah, is it a benefit to make it 3D? I don't see any benefit to it all. Scar looks just like another lion. He doesn't even have black mane.
Well, okay, I mean, they can't make him look like,
Like,
that's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to make him look like
it's different animation versus.
I'm fine with him looking at how he does. I mean, he's still like I thought he did look like, I didn't realize it was him at first, but like I don't know. It's obviously it's live action, so they can't go too wild with how he looks. Like he's got the little thing over his eye. I mean, I know it's a scar, but it doesn't really look like a scar in the trailer. It just looks like some.
Is that his name or is it a bad nickname? Was he
right.
born and they called him Scar and then he got scarred? Or
Well, that's like a philosophical question.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing with like Jafar, and like I really don't like how Scar sounds.
Yeah. Jeremy Irons, that's a great voice performance.
It just kind of throws me off a little bit. But I thought, I love Lion King. It's probably my favorite Disney movie, so I have a little bit of bias towards the live action. Like I really like it. I will definitely go see it. But I could see why some people have some problems, like
Trailer's very brown.
it being shot for shot. I'm sure like a lot of people that have already seen the original probably won't go see this one, but maybe they will. Maybe they bring.
I mean, I'm gonna still go see it.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go see it too, but there's always like
Yeah,
extremists.
I think
when it
people
comes to
from
movies.
like our generation and like the very youngest generation alike are going to be packing the movie theaters. I don't know.
I saw Incredibles 2. I don't know if I can go for the Lion King. That one hasn't grabbed me yet. It hasn't shown me anything that like, oh, I have to see that on screen. It's something new. It's something
That's true.
interesting.
Very
I don't
true.
know.
Yeah, it's not even
I'm on
like-
the fence.
It's not a continuation of the story. It's the same.
It's the same
It's
one.
literally
Shot
just the
same
same
thing.
shot.
Yeah,
Which, if
it's-
that's what you're into, is great.
Yeah, like-
Again, that being said, I'm still gonna go see it.
It's like the
Right,
remake
right.
of a video game. You know, it's
Yeah.
the same thing in a higher resolution.
I think the last really big one that we have to talk about is Toy Story 4, and then
Yes.
after Toy Story 4, I just have one more that I want to talk
Do you
about.
want to do that one
real quick.
first? Or?
No, I want
I
to
feel
do.
like John.
Yeah,
Wick's gonna do that.
I'll put in my little one first. All right, so I know y'all read these scary stories to tell in the dark. They're making it a movie.
Oh no.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna go see it. If I'm being honest, because like those books scared the shit out of me.
I would have no fears right now if I hadn't read those books. as
I
a
agree.
kid. Like that, those books alone were like
I
the
mean-
source of everything in life that I'm scared of. Like,
Talk about-
Alvin Schwartz, bro, fantastic horror writer.
Shit.
I'm not a good horror reader. Is the problem?
yeah.
So that was just my little bit about that. It's Guillermo del Toro too, so it'll be
It's gonna look freaky.
it's gonna look freaky.
There's also Frozen 2 coming out in 2019.
All right, well
Oh,
we
horror
can just
movie, of course.
skip past that.
Frozen 2.
There are some people that, of course, I think everyone and their mom saw Frozen.
I mean,
the first
unwillingly,
time
yeah.
around.
I mean, who didn't see Frozen? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know.
Saw it on accident.
Yeah, I kind of got dragged into it. Not gonna lie.
It's looking like another one of those Thanksgiving release type things, you know.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, it's coming out on
One-
November
one
22nd.
for the families.
So, yeah.
What are we looking forward to in this one?
So,
Oh,
I
this-
honestly couldn't really tell you what's going to happen in Frozen 2. But based on how good the songs were in the first Frozen, like,
Bryce is gonna be wailing.
I'm hyped and I can't wait to sing along the second time I watch it. So, that's really what I'm looking forward to.
For sure.
The Wikipedia premise for Frozen 2 is Queen Elsa, her sister Anna, Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven embark on a new journey beyond their homeland of Arendelle. That's it.
I kind of care.
I mean, we'll
What
see.
else are they gonna?
I mean,
do?
game rolling out though. So, I mean, I feel like there's. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
Anyways,
Yeah, I think a common theme here in movies 2019, and yeah, this is also something that we kind of saw last year that I don't really appreciate, is all these movies are kind of just like remakes or sequels. There's very little that's like original. You know, you got Hellboy, that shit came out decades ago.
A remake.
Remake Lion King, remake Joker. That's been done
That's
before.
original,
but
but-
this one will actually be good. Toy Story 4 continuation, Lego Movie 2, Frozen 2, John
Movie
Wick
2,
3,
what?
Godzilla again, Men in Black again. We
Just
did
get another
Spider-Man:
Godzilla.
Far From Home is also coming
yeah.
out.
So, if you're gonna put an original movie in theaters, it's a bigger risk for a company. Like,
Yeah, I have no doubt.
It's
There's
all
a
about
reason
name
it's-
recognition.
We didn't talk about
Yeah.
the Dora movie either.
I mean, we
have-
don't need to
oh,
talk about
God.
the Dora movie.
That Sonic movie? Did that?
Oh, yeah,
I feel like
the
Sonic
Sonic
is
movie?
coming.
that got canceled.
And
That should have.
There's like live action Kim Possible coming out at some
Yeah.
point
It's
too.
terrible.
that already came out.
Yeah,
All this
was
stuff-
it as terrible?
No, it
as,
was like a
it
TV
looked?
movie. It wasn't
Oh,
even
it looked
like.
bad.
It's
bro.
just I
there's-
don't like.
It's just
Saber
all these
in it.
movies that I'm just not really happy about, or like not excited about. I probably won't like them, and I'll probably just waste, $15 seeing them,
So-
which is already an outrageous.
$15?
Yeah.
$15 seeing a movie that's not part of a sequel or a series. That's the risk of not liking the
Yeah.
movie because you don't know what you're going to get. With most of these movies, you know what you're going to get,
Yeah.
and that's the people who are watching the movie knows that, and the people who are making the movie know that.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to say that like, oh, indie movies are the way to go, or like these standalone movies are the way to go, because they kind of suck as well.
They're not exempt from criticism.
Yeah, Isn't It Romantic sucks. Missing Link, probably good, but got bad reviews. Alita Battle Angel sucks. Us, that's actually good.
Great.
Yeah,
There's, I don't know, we need like a new wave of cinema.
Yeah, the problem is like I'll take Lego, like the Lego movie for example. I'm sure the first movie probably made like a lot of money because all the kiddos are like grabbing their parents.
Bro, I was like 13. I wouldn't have saw that.
That came out that long ago.
Yeah,
liked
it
it.
did.
Which
I like,
Lego
bro.
movie.
That shit was awesome.
Lego movie
Chris
one.
Pratt as a Lego, like,
I didn't.
come
see
on,
that.
dude.
But,
Like,
like, I'm just saying,
I
like,
saw it after the fact.
Bro,
It
I'm
was
just saying
good.
like
Man is better.
I'm just saying like nobody really asked for that. Like I'm sure.
I
it's-
mean, that's
like
facts.
I mean I never saw the movie.
My understanding is that it did reasonably well in the box office.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna get to that point. Like, it does, it makes money. So, as soon as it starts making money, studios are scrambling like, we got to make a second one, then we got to make a third one. Like,
exactly.
keep the streak going. As long as it's making money, people, they're gonna keep making iterations of that movie. Like, I'm sure that's why they keep making Godzillas. I'm sure for a long time they kept making Indiana Jones movies. I mean, Star Wars is kind of its own thing. Like, they're gonna keep making them joints regardless. But that's why, like, a lot of these movies keep getting like new iterations, and like nobody really asked for them, but like it's making the money somehow.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of it's sad in a way to see that studios are now focused on pretty much only the money, and people have the tendency to sort of like be suckers for that.
People need to support what they want by going to see it or not going to see what they want.
Yeah, but people will just sort of go to whatever, and kind of like what Brandon said. It's some of it is just all up to the kids. Like, if the kids cry enough, then they'll get their parents to go see it, and it'll turn into a whole family event, and you got 5 people buying a ticket to this one shitty movie, and then just one kid wanted to see, and kids have no taste. So
I mean, when I was like 7, I chose to go see Happy Feet. When Night at the Museum. All right, when Night at the Museum, I had the choice to go see Happy Feet or Night at the Museum in theaters. I really picked Happy Feet.
Oh no!
Night at the Museum is an all-time classic, and I went and saw Happy Feet.
You hate to see it. I mean,
Happy Feet's amazing though.
All right, it's
I'm
really
sucking
not.
the
It's not
skin
Logan.
off of Night at the Museum's meat.
All right, it's good movie. The sequels were not.
You
but
said
the movie was
classic
good.
movie.
It is a classic.
I'd say good movie.
It's a pretty good movie from my childhood. I don't know.
Classic movie, Joey?
I mean, for me, yeah.
I mean, it was also on everywhere, like,
That's
in
facts.
terms of, like,
I think
rewatch.
you've just been overexposed.
I mean, Ben Stiller, excellent performance. Should have won
Get outta
won like
here.
an Oscar or something.
The only thing
And
he's
of
ever
course,
done
Robin
good was
Williams.
Yeah,
Tropic
classic
Thunder,
Robin Williams performance.
the only good Ben Stiller movie.
Okay, well, you just...
I noticed that when you
neglected the
started
fuck out of
talking about Robin
Dodgeball,
Williams, you mentioned Theodore
not his
Roosevelt
movie.
as his first role.
Dodgeball's a
and I
Vince
thought
Vaughn
that was
movie.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, kids definitely have like terrible taste. Like when I was younger, my favorite movie was a movie I watched like probably a million times going to sleep every night was Roly Poly Oly, the Baby Bot Chase. And like that was like that used to be one of my favorite movies. I don't know why. Obviously it's a pretty ass movie, so
I mean,
it was good.
Speaking of childhood classics, I think we should wrap up here by talking about Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4 coming this year.
Huge Toy Story guy. Like when I was
me
a kid,
too, man.
Bro, alright, Toy Story 1 was like Toy Story without Bullseye. Toy Story 2, that was Toy Story with Bullseye. And that's how I decided what movie I wanted to watch, because those were really the only two I picked between. So it's kind of like it's kind of like the Shrek thing for Aaron. So Toy Story is very close to my heart. Something
Now,
watched
there was a whole
when I
debate
was
as to
little.
which Toy Story movie was the best one.
Okay,
And they
Toy
all
Story
do have
2 's
their
the
merit.
best.
Toy Story 2 would be my...
Toy Story 3 is
Toy Story 3 guy.
I mean,
It was a pretty
it was
good
good,
one, not
but
gonna
they
lie.
really
Sad at
should.
the end.
The
Very
ending, oh my
Bro, the
God.
ending, that shit like pulled my heart out, and then just like stomped on it and then like ran it over with a car. Honestly.
And then they're making a fourth one. I don't know.
Which is going to be the same thing. However, bro, Key and Peele in Toy Story 4 is going to be an
is-
absolute.
that is
geek.
going to be good to
It's gonna be-
That'd
it's gonna be
good.
hilarious.
Where are they going to be?
I don't know.
Just
They
two-
are
two
introducing
toys
new
at a carnival,
characters.
I think,
yeah,
is
they're the prizes at
that'll
a
be-
carnival. They're up on the wall. If you hit the target or whatever, you get
Yeah.
them.
Oh.
They're
Their names
talking
are
crap
Ducky and
to-
Bunny.
Yeah, they're
Ducky
talking
and
crap to
Bunny.
Buzz Lightyear.
Bo Peep is back. Yep, Bo Peep's back, and they'll have Mr. Potato Head in there, despite the fact.
Forky, the new dude.
Oh yeah,
He's the villain.
yeah.
There's no way he's not.
I mean, he kind of
hot
looks
take.
like
He's the
he's
secret villain. That's
okay,
my
he's
hot
not
take.
necessarily the villain, but he's the antagonist of the
Okay.
plot.
We'll see what
based
happens.
on what
I
I've
don't
seen.
know. We'll
Okay.
see.
I don't know. There's really not been a whole lot released about Toy Story 4 compared to some of these other
Yeah,
movies.
there really hasn't.
So
So
kind of keeping it under wraps.
there was a trailer with like these evil dolls or whatever. No one's really talking about that. They're probably like first act villain.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the real thing that happened, there might not even be a real villain. It's more of like a
I think-
road trip.
Yeah,
movie.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
The same thing. Actually, that should like the dolls are just like one part of it.
Yeah, like
it seems
one
kind of
act.
like a farewell tour for the Toy Story franchise, if I'm being honest. Which is
That's what the third one was.
that's what we
okay,
thought last
but like
time.
they're doing another one. So
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what they do because I guess
I mean,
we really
again,
don't know.
I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go see it. I'm gonna pay my money to go see it.
Yeah, I don't know where you get all this money from to watch all these movies.
I mean, I'm just going to see two.
I've been seeing all of that.
I've seen Avengers.
I'll
I've seen
just-
Pikachu.
Yeah, I'll just Google like.
Oh
the
man, I
Pirate
really
Bay
got a lot of
movie.
movies to go be seeing. I should make some money.
I mean, yeah, there's some ones that I do have earmarked, so we'll see what happens in terms of...
I'm looking for it. It's gonna be a good year for movies.
Yeah, so one thing about Toy Story 4, I read that Tom Hanks said in an interview that he couldn't
Bro, he couldn't even
look
look
at,
him,
Tim Allen and all these other actors
the
and
cast.
actresses, the rest of the cast during the recording of the last scene. So
I'm gonna cry in the theater.
Yeah,
I'm a grown ass man. I'm gonna cry in the theater.
But
Joey's
yeah,
looking like
so-
he's 35 with 3 kids.
But yeah, so I really don't know what to expect from this movie. I think that the ending, I mean, this is probably going to be the last Toy Story
It's
movie.
gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
last time.
I mean, no, they didn't say that last
They
time.
didn't.
I mean, I did.
You said
Joke's
that.
on me.
Yeah.
Egg on my face.
But yeah, so I mean, they did leave him off with like the
Bonnie.
Yeah, Bonnie. But anyways, I don't think I'm emotionally ready for the end of this movie. I mean, this is like my childhood coming. You know, full
It's
circle,
gonna be a
whole
good
thing.
year. It's also gonna be sort of an emotionally rough year for the movie.
Yeah, going to the movies, probably going to be there most of the year. We'll see. I mean, not that I live at the movie theater or anything, but definitely going to be watching some of these highly anticipated movies. Looking forward to them. All right. So, we just watched the Champions League. There were a lot of very exciting matches. Some of the ties, to be honest, weren't that close, but there was one that's very close to my heart that gave me a little bit of a scare, if I'm being honest. But let's just talk about what we just saw in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Logan, what was the most exciting tie of the round?
I would definitely say Tottenham versus Man City.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
second leg was it was a roller coaster.
It was, for me, to saying it was a roller coaster would probably be an understatement. I'm full disclosure, I'm a Tottenham fan. Love Tottenham.
Boo.
They definitely did not make it easy on us supporters to get to
Nope.
the semifinals. Just a little bit of background, just so that everyone knows what happened. Tottenham won the first leg. There are 2 legs in the Champions League knockout stages until the final, and they won the first leg at home. They managed to get a 1-0 shutout win, which means that the away goals rule, whichever team has the most away goals if the teams are tied, advances. So they managed to hold City to 0 away goals, which of course is crucial.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. So they took this 1-0 lead going away now, and in the first 11 minutes of the game, the score is already 2-2. It's tied up, which means that Tottenham were up 3-2 on aggregate. Heung-min Son had scored twice. One of them was a curler that was a beauty. Raheem Sterling scored in the 3rd minute, another curler that was almost as nice. Not as nice as Son's, of course. But in the 21st minute, Bernardo Silva scored to bring things level. And it was a very tense game. In terms of the start, it's one of the quickest starts that I think I've seen in the second leg in a while.
Yeah. And I was surprised Tottenham was able to keep up with City. I thought, 2 legs against the contenders for the Premier League title race.
Yeah.
That's tough. And
Yeah,
they were able to pull it out.
They played a really good game, City. They were they're firing on all cylinders, but I was impressed by Tottenham's pace in the game. They definitely kept themselves in it by pressing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you say City's firing on all cylinders, they're coming off a 10-2 aggregate over Schalke.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
that's-
they destroyed
that's
Schalke
ridiculous.
at the last game. Yeah,
But Tottenham's also coming. They beat Dortmund 4-0 on aggregate.
yeah,
so
that was a very impressive.
That's
performance
impressive
series.
because it's unusual in the Bundesliga this season. They're actually contenders for the title over Bayern Munich, which is unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing really well this year.
So Tottenham and Manchester City both played well against. I mean, every team that's in, every club that's in the Champions League is good. They're all
Right.
good. They're all really good. And for Man City to beat up on Schalke the way they did, and then for Tottenham to get that such a solid victory over Dortmund, really says a lot about the 2 clubs we're looking at. And, I don't think that a Tottenham-Man City quarterfinal could have gone any other way than somebody winning on away goals.
Yeah.
And speaking about the ending of that game,
Yeah, so we only gave you the first 21 minutes of that.
yeah.
What happened in the second half, Logan?
So Aguero was able to pull back another goal in the 59th minute. And so that's when Fernando Llorente was subbed in for Tottenham.
Yeah.
And that surprised me a little.
Surprised me too. I didn't think it was a good decision.
I don't think he's that great of a player, but he definitely made an impact scoring in the 73rd minute.
And it wasn't your average goal. It wasn't a clean goal by any means.
Right.
It was a cross by Kieran Trippier on the corner, and Llorente goes up for it. Llorente is a very tall person, might I add, but this ball actually hit him in the midsection. I guess is the best place to start.
Hip, the waistband, as a commentator said.
The waistband. There was a little controversy with this one. It actually went to VAR, which is Video Assistant Referee. It's very controversial, I guess. A lot of people are for it and against it for various reasons, but at the end of the day, it does help. It does assist the referees in making the proper call. So in this case, the VAR was used to determine whether Llorente had hit it with his hand or whether it was a handball before going in. Now, it did look like... what did it look like?
Okay, so it took a while, but on the replays, you could see the effect of the ball hitting his arm. You could see like the muscle and the skin ripple on his arm, right? And so I guess you could say technically the ball hit his hand, but... It was
like... It would have been like his forearm, kind of.
Yeah.
But...
And his hand was right next to his body. It was tucked right next to his body. So even if it did hit his forearm, I don't think you can call that a handball.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional. It didn't really influence the path of the ball.
Movement, yeah, exactly. And I think that if it hit his hip, it would have gone right in the same place. Which
exactly.
It did right after it hit his arm, which is probably where most of the contact came from. So keeping that in mind, that put Tottenham and City tied at 4-4 on aggregate. With the away goals rule in effect, Tottenham would have 3 away goals and City has 0 from the first leg. So all of this, it's very intense. So at the moment, Tottenham would be going through, heading into the 93rd minute, when one of the craziest sequences of events happens that I've ever witnessed in soccer. What was it? Take me through it.
Who got
So Christian Eriksen had gotten the ball. Tottenham had just depossessed Manchester City, and Eriksen wanted to pass the ball back to Ben Davies, who was waiting back there. So of course he passes back towards Tottenham's goal, and at this point Tottenham would have gone through. So Eriksen's pass is deflected. It hits off the leg of a City player, and then it falls to Sergio Aguero, who is streaking down the right sideline on an odd man break, who cuts it back, passes it into Raheem Sterling right in front of the 6-yard box, and Raheem Sterling slots it home.
He does. And at this point, we think it's over. It's late in stoppage time.
City scored what seemed to be the winner, and everyone's going crazy.
And then suddenly we get up on the screen, VAR, no goal.
Yeah, so it happened very quickly. We were watching. I was, as a Tottenham fan, I was absolutely devastated. I was mad, sad, angry, the whole 9. I was going through everything, and I was saying, no, not this way. How? All the emotions, and then out of nowhere, they didn't even show the actual replay on the TV screen. It looked like the referee.
I think ruling offsides might be automatic. I don't know if the ref has to go and look at it.
Yeah,
like he did with the first replay.
It didn't look like there was a lot of time for him to have gone and looked at it.
Right, because usually he signals, he does the thing, makes the square with his hands, and he runs over. So
exactly.
I guess it's automatic.
But yeah, so what happened here was he made the signal for VAR, and then he pointed at the spot for offsides. He ruled that it was offsides, and it was Tottenham's ball. So at this point, the fans in the stadium, everyone watching the television broadcast, pretty much everyone in the world, hadn't seen the goal again and why it was offsides. Because I remember thinking, how was that offsides? So it turns out that when Christian Eriksen passed it back and it was deflected off that City player, that Sergio Aguero was standing in an offsides position, albeit very closely. It was very, very close.
But it was still offsides.
Yeah, nevertheless, he was offsides. So it hit off the City player, and then Aguero picked it up. And that is where the offsides was called. And
the question is, the question is, a City player never actually passed it to Aguero.
Yes.
It was just deflected off of Christian Eriksen's pass.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might be quick to say, well, like, it wasn't like a real pass. But the rule is if it comes off, whatever player comes off last, that invokes offsides.
Yeah.
So it was offsides.
Yeah. So it was really something to see. It left everyone, I think, speechless. There were stories of Tottenham fans and City fans alike that either had left the stadium or
I'm sure
were confused as to what happened. But yeah, there was this one video that I saw pop up where it was a City fan, and a reporter asked him outside the Etihad Stadium, "Are you sad? Are you depressed? Tell me how you're feeling." And he responded, "Why would I be sad? We won." And the reporter had to alert him that it was turned over and that City weren't going through.
He must have ran out of that stadium fast.
Yeah, honestly. The report said that he booked it after Raheem Sterling scored. And to be fair, there was like a solid minute between when the goal would have been scored and
the celebrations were dying down.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was really the perfect end to that game, I think.
Yeah, so
depending
Tottenham,
on who you ask.
Yeah, so it was a perfect ending for me for sure. Because at this point I'm hysterical. I can't believe that Tottenham are going to the semifinals. So opening it up now to the rest of the Champions League semifinals. Who are the other teams in the semifinal?
So we got two matchups. First is Ajax, who's playing Tottenham, which is the one I'm personally most excited to watch. And then there's also the Barcelona versus Liverpool fixture.
Yes, for sure.
Which will, in its own right, hopefully be just as exciting as this past quarterfinal was.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there are half the teams left are English teams. And there's kind of a stereotype, if you will, about English teams not doing well in the Champions League. Usually it's Bayern Munich, Real Madrid,
because we see
Barcelona.
That these superpower teams that are assembled in Europe are the ones that are at the top of the Spanish, German, all these other leagues around. So seeing an Italian league as well, France, keep going on. But it's pretty interesting to see Liverpool and Tottenham come out.
I think that, a lot of casual soccer fans are going to look at these four teams that are left to be like, oh yeah, Tottenham, Barcelona, Liverpool, and be like, wait, what's Ajax? Like, who are they? Well, Ajax, super tough. Big fan of Ajax. They actually beat Real Madrid and they beat Juventus.
Two very impressive wins.
Very impressive wins.
So Real Madrid have won the Champions League the past 2 years, I believe. Is that what it is?
I think is it 4?
Yeah, they're
been a while.
Yeah, they're on a wild tear. Ronaldo has owned the Champions League for the past few years. And then, of course, they beat Ronaldo's new team in Juventus the last round.
And the thing about Ajax is that, they don't have any really big names. Like, Juventus has Ronaldo, and Barcelona's got Messi and Suarez. But, the highest scorer across all competitions for Ajax this year has been Dusan Tadic.
Oh, yeah. Tadic is very tough.
I mean,
he's
got 28 goals.
He's
and
a
14
Serbian
assists.
player. Yeah, he's a Serbian player. He played well in the World Cup. Serbia had a few good runs in international competitions. Yeah, Tadic is very good.
But he's the only player on their team over 20 goals across all competitions.
Yeah, they have pretty good defending. I know their captain Delight.
Matisse Delight, I think that's how you say it.
He's very good. I believe he scored a header in one of the games. I think he scored a goal against Juventus just now.
Yeah, he has a Champions League goal.
They also have Daley Blind, who used to play for Man U, right?
Yeah, so he exited Man U not on the greatest terms, and he didn't really fit into one of the new managers. I forget who they had before.
Probably Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, it was definitely a post Alex Ferguson team that he didn't really fit into. So he's there. Of course, he's on a Dutch team again. He's Dutch. Mm-hmm. They have Frankie de Jong, who is a great striker. There are actually rumors between him transferring to Tottenham soon, but he's very good.
Really?
Yeah, truly. He came very close to signing. Of course, Tottenham had the summer where they didn't sign anyone,
right?
But he admitted to reporters that he was very close to signing. But of course, we'll see. He's a young guy as well. He's actually only 2 years older than us. He's born in 1997.
How old is he?
I mean,
21?
That would make him like 19-ish. No, we're 19. Yeah, he's like 21.
Dang.
Yeah.
Who?
Frankie de Jong.
Yeah, he's 21.
Yeah.
But in Matthias de Light's 18.
De Light's 18?
Yes, he's 18.
That's a young squad.
He's 18.
He's the captain.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is the captain.
Yeah, he's 18.
Yeah.
Looking at it right now, he's 18 years old.
Okay, so do we want to do predictions for who's going to make it to the final?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we've talked about Tottenham and Ajax first here, so why don't you guys give your takes first?
You know, I've always been one to like a good Cinderella story, and I really think Ajax is a Cinderella here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're definitely the Cinderella out of the four.
Yeah, and you know, I think it'd be nice to see someone other than all these.
They also have Huntelaar, by the way. Used to play for Schalke.
Yes.
Franz Huntelaar. Anyways.
I think it'd be nice to see someone other than your Real Madrids, your Munichs.
I definitely agree with that.
Win the Champions League. So I don't dislike Tottenham. I think it's gonna be a close
it
fixture.
should definitely be a very close game. I'm looking forward to it.
There's no clear winner there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna pull. I think I'm pulling for Ajax. If I'm being
I mean, they
honest.
played incredible. They've dominated against
Yeah.
Real Madrid and Juventus, and that says a lot.
That really does say a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that they've been able to keep those offensives down.
I think I have to pick Ajax in this matchup. That they're a young squad, but they really have that mentality where they refuse to lose. They went down early against Juventus in the quarters, and then I believe they scored 2, come back and beat them to move on to the semifinal.
Yeah.
So I think they'll come through in
Ronaldo
this
scored
matchup.
a header very early, and Ajax didn't shy away. So that was very, very interesting.
I'm worried about that lack of experience, though. If they do make it to the final,
Yeah.
That could definitely play a part.
Another thing that I'm worried about for this matchup is that, of course, Harry Kane, rated by many as the best striker in Europe. I don't mean to sound biased, but he is probably one of the best strikers. All the other players in Europe are wingers. If you talk about Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar,
He's very
the rest.
efficient.
He's definitely one of the best, if not the best, pure striker in Europe. He's out right now. He just got hurt against Manchester City in the first leg. He exited in like the 30th minute, and they got the 1-0 dub against City. Of course, the wildness happened in the second leg, but players like Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son have really stepped up around him, Dele Alli. But the reason why I'm worried, not only because he's out, is because Heung-min Son got a yellow card in the second leg, and now he's going to miss the first game of the semifinal. And I think that makes a huge difference. Heung-min Son scored 2 times in 2 minutes in the first 10 minutes of the game, and he was electric all night. So that's a big part of our offense. He's another one of these players that really steps up when Harry Kane is injured, and really fun to watch. Very, very talented. In my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. I don't know about all of Europe, because there are a lot of underrated players in Europe right now, including half of Ajax's squad.
Yeah.
But for my money, Son's definitely up there. So his impact, that's gonna be huge for him not being there. Our defense is really good. Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen played really well. Danny Rose really plays left wing for us right now. He's our left back, but he runs up and down the field all game. Kieran Trippier, similar thing there. So players like Christian Eriksen and Dele Alli are going to need to step up. I guess they're going to be forced into starting Llorente, or at least giving him an option after being the hero in the quarters. So we'll see what happens. I am optimistic that Tottenham wins. I've seen a lot of the early predictions are saying that Tottenham are the favorites, and of course they have their new stadium, which they are undefeated in. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They haven't gotten naming rights anywhere yet, but
do you know how many games they've played?
They played like 4 or 5, something like that. They haven't been too difficult. Like we played Palace, we played City in the first leg. We played Huddersfield there.
Like Huddersfield or something.
But yeah, beyond that, I mean, we just had a good run of form these last few games. Yeah, I mean, those are the 3 games that we've played there. But, it's the new stadium.
What about the other tie? Do you have
Yeah.
anything to say about that, Bryce?
First, let's talk about for Barcelona, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Bryce, tell me what you think about this matchup.
So I personally, I think it's going to be a blowout, and I'm feeling that Barcelona is just gonna, they're gonna bring it to Liverpool, and they're not gonna know what hit them.
Yeah.
Like, Liverpool definitely has some star power, but I think Barcelona with like Coutinho and Messi and like Suarez is just, it's gonna be too much, and they're clicking on all cylinders.
Messi and Barcelona are always a safe bet. I think if any team has the best chance, it's Liverpool right now.
To beat Barcelona?
Yeah, to beat Barcelona.
Sure.
They're at their peak. I just don't think it'll be a challenge.
Yeah. What's interesting about this matchup is that over their last two fixtures in the round of 16 and in the quarters, both of these clubs have scored 9 goals, and and they've both given up either 1 or 2. So Liverpool beat Bayern 3-1, and they beat Porto 6-1, and then Barcelona beat Lyon 5-1, and they beat Man U 4-0. So they seem, based on teams that they played and the way that they've won, it really seems like they're pretty evenly matched here.
Yeah, I definitely got to give Barcelona the nod here. Of course, we saw the wonders that Liverpool pulled in the Champions League last year. They got to the final before getting dismantled by Gareth Bale and Real Madrid. But Ivan Rakitic is playing out of his mind right now. Lionel Messi,
he's just as good as he's always been.
Yes,
if not better.
You know what you're getting. He's just phenomenal in all aspects of the game. Really,
there's no words to describe him.
Luis Suarez is super talented, super dangerous. We saw Coutinho score an absolute curler over David De Gea, top 3, top 5, wherever you want to put him, goalie in Europe.
Yeah.
And the defense is playing well. Like, Piqué is still holding it down back there. They have Nelson Semedo and Sergio Roberto, Jordi Alba.
It's your good old Barcelona.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really all.
Playing well. Yeah, it's you know what you're getting when you have Barcelona. So, it's a team that thrives on possession, consistency, and really imposes their will on the game. As for Liverpool, we know the case here. It's the pace.
It's the pace.
What are we seeing?
So we got like Salah on the outside, who hasn't been producing at the same level he did last year.
Last year, of course, was historic.
Yeah, but so I'm a Chelsea fan, for anyone who is wondering, and he recently just scored a screamer against us in the Premier League. So
this was one of the greatest goals I've seen in a minute. He just controlled the ball. It was like a deep, like a far pass from him. He takes a perfect touch, takes 2 steps towards goal. He's got to be 30 plus yards out, and just rips it into the top corner.
It was devastating, but if he can bring that to the games against Barcelona, it will definitely be a close one, because no goalie is saving anything like that.
For sure, yeah. He looked really good in Champions League last year, and he's looked pretty solid. Of course, they just beat Porto 6-1 on aggregate, so we'll see what happens. Their midfield plays well as always. James Milner and Wijnaldum and Fabinho hold it down. So we'll see what happens. Overall, I do have to go with Barcelona here, just because of how good they are.
Yeah. So I think, for me, it's looking the final. I would probably say Barcelona, Ajax, if I'm hopeful.
I think I have to agree with Logan on that one.
I'm going to third that, and I'm going to add on that, a big fan of Ajax. I just don't think they can beat Barcelona if they meet in the final. You look at the Barcelona's roster, and they're just so stacked. It's not even fair.
It is one
honestly.
game to.
That is true.
There's a lot of things that are accounted for when you have 2 legs, where it's harder for a team to get lucky for 90 minutes,
right.
As opposed to 180. So in a final, honestly, I do think that anything can happen. I do like Tottenham. I don't know where this Tottenham hate is coming from. It is
not Tottenham hate, it's Ajax love.
Yeah, it is Ajax love. It's all Ajax love. But yeah, Tottenham are definitely going to be. They're going to have a difficult tie ahead of them. I don't know if any of the Ajax players have suspensions for the next game, but I doubt it. But yeah, we're a little depleted. Yeah, But overall, I do have to take Tottenham in that one, and because anything can happen, Harry Kane might even be back.
Yeah, it's a 50-50.
I gotta support my boys here. Tottenham Champions League.
Can't even be mad.
Champions. But yeah. Sounds like everyone else is Barcelona.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I agree that Ajax definitely going to be very difficult for them moving forward.
Yeah.
As a super young team. But one thing I would love to see is that because they're super young, that some of these like young players with tons of potential stay at Ajax instead of going to these big name clubs.
Every single time
sure.
Ajax are a seller's club.
Like, I know all these big clubs have the money, which like you can't really fault them for taking it, but if these players stay, they could be unbelievable in a couple of years.
I remember seeing something where if Ajax hadn't sold their team, like this was like at least 2 years ago, if Ajax hadn't sold all their players, they would have like the most stacked team in Europe 2 years ago.
You got a great academy there.
Yeah, all the players that they bring up. It's a great program there. A lot of young talent circling in and out. So it's been a good episode. I've been joined by
Brendan LaRocco,
Logan Rakes.
Bryce Whitney.
Will Whitehurst,
Joey Bohley.
Aron Jaffe.
this is Abhishek Goel signing off. Peace.
Just gonna take out a hand.
So sorry. Yes.